Man, I'm just out here surviving. And what I'm doing right now won't even matter.
Oh, baby, baby, it will always matter. Thought you said you fixed that.
Get a room! I got a room, mother...
Hey, Cash, how much longer I gotta wait for my money?
God made this land for all of us. Greedy people like you want to hog it to yourself and your family and...
Me and my family?
Yeah.
Cassius, I'm your f***ing uncle.
I just really need a job. 40 on 2.
This is telemarketing.
Stick to the script.
Hey, hello. Mr. Davison, Cassius Green here. Sorry to bother.
Let me give you a tip. You want to make some money here? Use your white voice.
My white voice.
I'm not talking about Will Smith's wife, like this young blood.
Hey, Mr. Kramer. This is Langston from Regal View.
As always, we'll be getting that out to you right away.
You're doing so good with the voice thing.
Holla, 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 holla!
Oh, yeah! All right!
Hey everybody, welcome back to the LuckyDog podcast. This is your host, Elias Rauch. Today we are discussing Sorry to Bother You, directed by Boots Riley, starring Lakeith Stanfield. In an alternate present-day version of Oakland, telemarketer Cassius Green discovers a magical key to professional success, propelling him into a macabre universe. So, let me just tell you right now, this is a comedy, fantasy, sci-fi, drama, whatever type movie you want to call it. This movie is an amalgamation of many things. Most of that was IMDb's interpretation and detail, but I also wanted to say that it was, I would describe this as a quirky, low-budget indie film with a lot more to say than what's on the surface. It's a fable that also describes the ever since the exceptional feeling of capitalism in America, specifically, and income and inequality and all of that. It touches on so many different touchstones of social injustice, and it's a little movie with a lot to say. So I was really blown away, given the size of it. So a little bit about the director, Boots Riley. Boots Riley was a big political activist back in the 90s, also a hip-hop artist, which heavily influenced a lot of his music. This movie clearly has influences trickled down from someone that has these kind of influences, political sayings and social injustices. You know, like I said, someone that is well aware of the political ins and outs of America. And so this is the way this movie is advertised is much more I don't know, bombastic or something like that, I would want to say. Just kind of out there. I mean, it is like the editing is just like choo, 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 choo. And in the theater it's pretty much like that as well, relatively. But I'm kind of trying to dance around this topic a little bit because this is an extremely hard movie to talk about. Spoiler free, so I'm gonna do my best right now. So I do have a couple things to say about the pros about this movie. So a couple of things. Acting. Everyone in this, I think, is doing a fantastic job. Given that Boots Riley hasn't really directed terribly that many things, which I honestly think this might be his first directorial debut. He might have one other thing. this is his first movie. So he did a wonderful job, and everyone on screen feels like they're comfortable on screen. They look like they're enjoying what they're doing. We have big actors that aren't even advertised that much. Don't want to say too much about who isn't advertised and who isn't, but one character is Steven Yeun from The Walking Dead. Big character, hardly advertised at all. Danny Glover, once again, another big star. He's in the movie in an okay amount. Not you're not getting a Danny Glover movie, but you're getting some good Danny Glover exposure, and he's having a good time, and I think that's what's important. Lakeith Stanfield, like I said earlier, he's bringing the heat. He's doing a really good job carrying the majority of this movie. He is playing himself from Atlanta. If anyone has ever seen Atlanta, we've covered some episodes. Check them out in the archives. But Lakeith Stanfield plays Cassius Green, and I thought that he did a wonderful job going through the ups and downs of the telemarketer life, if you want to say that. Tessa Thompson, his girlfriend, who plays Detroit, she once again does a wonderful job. It's hard to find a bad Tessa Thompson performance. This is a lot different than seeing her in Westworld. It's such a different persona of her, and it's cool just to see her to get to have a little bit more of a creative side and spontaneous side, I guess. The other characters in there, Jermaine Fowler plays Salvador, Omari Hardwick, who plays Mr. Blank. There's a really great cast of people in here, and I found myself really laughing pretty hard at the beginning, and I did find myself kind of slowly going from laughing hard at the beginning to more of a chuckle towards the end of the movie. Like, I wasn't laughing as hard. I was starting to get more of a message. I felt much more weight on what was going on with the plot, but not in a bad way or anything like that. Armie Hammer's in this, and he is hilarious. I couldn't stop laughing about how hard. Oh my gosh, he was ridiculous. But yeah, so I thought the acting once again just was all on par. Directing, like I said, was by Boots Riley and written by him as well. It was really funny, and it did get much more heavier, leaning into the political side of the spectrum than I was expecting. But it's not a bad thing. I thought the editing was really well done. The creativity in this was in cinematography and music all kind of wrap all into one, because they all are all on par. They all work really well together. You know, the way people are centered, positioned, all the blocking, all of it looks wonderful. The composition of the colors really just pops and lays well on the characters. Whatever they're wearing or whatever setting they're in. The phone call interactions I thought were so entertaining. Just at the very beginning, when he first gets these phone calls, he's like transported all the way into the person's living room or headquarters or wherever the hell they're having the phone call. And it's extremely entertaining how they do it, and creative, and it's different than most movies you've ever seen. Which I'd say, if for anything, I would say definitely check this out. You know, if you have any interest in filmmaking at all, I think this is definitely, a filmmaker's delight, and that's why this is being more critically accepted than just by the average viewer, because I don't know if this is for the average viewer. I mean, I definitely think this has a lot behind it that it has to say, and I'm not sure if this is for the commercial audience, which, by the way, this point, it's at limited release. This is like the second or third week it's been out on release. It's about it's in the high 90s, 95s or something like 95 or so on Rotten Tomatoes, and around a 7.6 or something like that on IMDb. So just to give you a point of reference of where this movie is landing with some audiences. But yeah, I can definitely see this going either being very polarizing toward the third act, which I'll discuss more in spoilers. I thought that this movie was extremely detailed. I was not expecting it to be as detailed as it was. The details from little things like earrings to background sets, background posters, commercials, tiny words that would sometimes would pop on screen and you were trying to read really fast. This movie, you're going to want to go back and just freeze frame some of the things that are shown on screen just so you can read all the stuff that is on there. There's a lot that's happening, and not just like what's happening either from the audio or just from the visuals. You might be getting a lot of information from all corners. So I think it will definitely have a rewatchability factor, backgrounds, commercials, like I said, all that. It's an amalgamation of a lot of creative stuff. The world building in general was done really well on such a small budget. I believe this was like a $3 million budget or something like that. It's super small. I don't know how this was done on such a small budget with all these high caliber actors, especially voicing over the individuals, like Keith Stanfield. I did think that trying to get used to that voiceover of the white voice was just it was hard to get over, but once you got over that leap, I guess it didn't linger on it, and I never really felt like it was the best jokes. The best jokes were not generally the white voice, in my opinion. They were a little bit smarter, but I thought that the audience that I was with in the theater. I saw it on a Monday, so I was not expecting that many people, and there really weren't. There's maybe less than 10 people in the theater, but everyone generally was feeling about the same thing. I could hear everyone laughing about the same time I was. A couple of the cons I wasn't feeling. The pacing towards the second to third act. This is an hour and 45-minute movie, and so I could definitely start to feel probably about the hour and a half mark, and I think that they had a lot of plot threads going that they were trying to land all smoothly, which didn't quite happen. One of them being the social media plot, which is one of the reasons why he has the band around his head on all of the posters. But yeah, I did say I personally liked the third plot, and I understood, the extremity of it, and why they had to go that extreme with the third act. But I understand it definitely won't work with everyone. I'm not sure if this is gonna work with like your girlfriend or something like that. I know, depending on how into fantasy, I would say that you are willing to stretch your imagination. Will depend on how much you enjoy the third act. So I'll hop on into spoilers so we can discuss this a little bit more in depth. Rate, share, subscribe. I appreciate everyone listening. LuckyDog Podcast. Please help us out at PayPal/LuckyDog Podcast. You can find all of that information in the show notes. We appreciate all the donations, all the help, keeping the lights on, giving us all the feedback you can at theluckydogpodcast@gmail.com. Once again, if you need any spelling tips or whatever, you don't know what the heck's going on, check out the show notes, all in the show notes. So we are jumping into spoilers right now. So Worry Free's plan to create horse people is freaking ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. I didn't see that coming, and I was actually like jumping in my seat when I saw that, because, after so long of watching what you think is just kind of a surreal plot of individuals just kind of going along, trying to make their way up to the top, and maybe having a white voice, but I felt like as soon as he had walked in that room that looked like it was straight out of Saw, I was like, this is going way south. And I thought that we were going to see like a mutilated person, not like a horse-headed individual, like a horseman. Like, I was not ready for that. And then he busts out, and I was like, oh my gosh. And apparently that one of those horses were Forrest Whitaker and Rosario Dawson. But yeah, it was a crazy freaking just exposure, I guess, realization to what kind of movie you're watching. I've always said, if you don't know what kind of movie you're really watching until you finish the last 10 minutes, because that'll tell you what kind of movie you're in. And this really shows that we're in the sci-fi fantasy realm. And yeah, it was insane. I thought that there was a lot of detail, like the small things, like the claymation, the commercials and stuff like that. I thought that was really cool, and how they were explaining. I mean, they did like a big explanation video where it's kind of where you either jump off, you are still with the you're still with the movie, or you're not. This is right after you find out about the horse people, and Armie Hammer has Lakeith Stanfield, hostage, watching the video, sort of. And that is a crazy just realization that he is over there, and he finds out that he snorted the horse, I don't know, the horse cocaine stuff or something like that. And yeah, when I remember seeing the plate, and I was like, oh my gosh, who is Mr. Boots? I was like, what is Mr. Boots and all that stuff? And I was like, what is going on? And then it goes to the horse, and I was like, oh my gosh. And then you find out that it in the video that all you have to do is like snort that stuff and you become a horseman or something like that. And oh my gosh, it is like, wow. And yeah, I'm just replaying it in my head. I'm just like mind blown to all that was happening. And at the very, very end, we find out that he starts to turn into a horse. Like, oh my Lanta. I thought that he had like bumped his head into the garage or something like that. But what the fuck? Like, I guess he actually did. He did snort this stuff. So, just like most fables, that they don't turn out very well for the person that was going through their trials and tribulations. Sometimes, they sometimes end up getting you in the very end, and this is exactly what happened with this guy. So, Cassius, it ended up happening to him, and at one point, I think it was around the point when he was watching the video, I was like, this is not going to turn out well for this guy. And yeah, so it was another one. It was another one. I don't know if I would have, if I was making this movie, I don't think I would have had him turned into the horse. I would have kept that just as maybe a deleted scene or something like that. Just, I guess I wanted it to be a happy ending for him, and it just, I guess it just sort of is. I don't know. It really depends on how you look at it. Tessa Thompson and the way some of the women were treated in the movie, I thought were kind of pushed to the side. I really wanted maybe a slight. I mean, she had a crazy side plot with all the art stuff going on, and some of it was landing with me and some of it wasn't. I wasn't really sure where the funds were coming from or how she was making this art. and if it was really landing with me. I know that it was. I guess it wasn't hitting me at the parts where, when we were with Tessa Thompson, I thought that we were in a very grounded state, and when we were with Lakeith Stanfield and just him, we were in this like surreal world. So when we were watching Tessa Thompson doing all this like street art, like almost naked with glove stuff all over her body, it was very just odd, and I was a little thrown out. I was like, this is very strange. Like, I remember thinking that, I was like, I'm not sure where this movie is going at now. I was thinking this is extremely unpredictable, and I'm not, I mean, it's Tessa Thompson. She's an amazing actress, and has confidence that most people only dream of having. So watching her do all this stuff was, fun and amazing, and everything under the sun. But I didn't know if the audience I was sitting with was actually going to buy this, because this just was starting to hit like way left field on some people, on my opinion, on some people's radar. So yeah, in her interaction with Stephen Yeun, that I never thought that was resolved properly. I understand that they kind of like were starting to hit it off a little bit, but I mean, he was hitting on her way before Cassius was like even out of the picture, and so that was what was a little bit bothersome. And then he tried to say he was buddy with Stanfield, Cassius later, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. Like, you can't just hit up your dude's girl and stuff like that and do all that and then say it's all good at the end. Like, that's not how that goes down. So I don't know. I really enjoyed everyone's acting. I especially enjoyed the interaction with Danny Glover and Lakeith Stanfield. I thought they had a lot of charisma on screen. They just they played well against off of each other, and then doing the white voices, that was cracking me up so hard. And then when Cassius and Salvador, I believe, were going at it in the street, they were like insulting each other with comments and stuff like that. That was that was so funny. I was dying during that. Yeah, there were some really hilarious scenes, and I thought that the voices, Patton Oswalt, David Cross, they did really great. Lily James did the Detroit's British voice during her ceremony thing, art gallery. I thought we had Terry Crews even in the back for he. Just a little bit, maybe a couple lines, but I thought that everyone did really good. I thought this was a really well done movie, and maybe depending on how you accept, however you accept that horse plot is how you're gonna land on this movie. So, I really enjoyed it. I'd give it around an 8 on the scale. So, yeah, I thought this was a solid entry this year, and it's gonna be remembered as I want to say this is gonna be a classic, kind of like a cult classic. So I'm anxious to see what other people say about this film. I might actually do a little bit of Twitter check, so we'll do the LuckyDog Twitter check real quick to see what anyone is saying on the Twitter about Sorry to Bother You. Sorry to bother you. Sorry for party rocking. Sorry for party rocking. Oh my gosh. So, yeah, sorry to bother you. New to this. Bothered the shit out of me, and I loved it. For real, I'm not okay. Hey Jen Bartel, every single one of Tessa Thompson's earrings in Sorry to Bother You deserves an Oscar. Don't at me. That's kind of true. I agree. But I think Sorry to Bother You has given me one of the biggest what the fuck moments I've ever had. Oh my gosh, at Heckin or something like that. I don't know. That was hilarious. It's true. It's true. Oh my goodness. So, what the fuck? Sorry to Bother You. Best movie of all year. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, at Gunner Sell White. So that's an interesting. I was not expecting to see that. Let's see. Sorry to Bother You was amazing. Go see it. Yeah, okay, yeah. I think people are. They're saying some good things about this. Let's go to the latest up. Those are the top. I wonder if anyone said not so hot things. Even better looking for a deeper analysis of Sorry to Bother You. I do agree that Detroit should have been filled by a darker, compelled actress. I love Tessa so much, but I feel it would have been connected much more an accurate representation. Maybe some people weren't feeling Tessa Thompson on there. I don't know. I always love her on these things. Most of the things she's on does really well. Boots Riley isn't taking any prisoners, but Sorry to Bother You. It's crazy. It's crazy. Good. Buckle up and get educated. I think that's one of the best tweets we could finish up on. That's Crotchety Carlos. Well, Crotchety Carlos is definitely right about that. So I think on that we're gonna close up shop. Call it a good one. Remember, rate, share, subscribe. Check us out on LuckyDog Podcasts. Everything you need to know is in the show notes, and we really appreciate you listening. All of your support helps. We can't do this without you. This is how we do it. You know, that kind of thing. Yeah, that's that's how we do it. So, I appreciate it. Take it easy.
I got promoted. I'm a power caller.
What do they sell?
They're not selling it, but we selling.
No, there's no amount of money that make me do that.
Here's the starting salary. Well, man, I'm gonna have to get me some new suits.
Whatever I wear, no, I'm here to be clear.
It is morally emaciated. I can't ride with you.
I'm doing something I'm really good at.
Cash.
I'm gonna make you a proposal. I can see that you want to say no, but I wouldn't do that before you see what I'm offering you. Cash. You